Eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sechs, sieben. Here we go. It is 1:16 p.m. PST, November 13th, 2024. This is a consensual recording of Mystic Gwen pursuant to the instructions of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, who I am not an employee of. However, I have been authorized to state I am an informant since the end of June. If you're watching this and wondering what's going on, I'm going to direct you to go to facebook.com/MysticGwenLovesOnlyYou. Again, that's facebook.com/MysticGwenLovesOnlyYou. And for the third and final time, facebook.com/MysticGwenLovesOnlyYou. From there, the very first post that you should see should be a letter that begins "Notice to all parties." And it ends with my signage, and above that, it's dated for October 20th, 2024. This is important because according to the FBI, this letter is legally valid and trumps, supersedes, and vetoes any and all paperwork that's come prior to and or after it, and any sort of attempt at illegal entry, something that's been attempted over 31 plus times during the 98 days I've been held hostage, or as the FBI likes to put it, illegally detained in order to tamper with a witness. Anyway, in that October 20th post, the first sentence makes reference to two other letters, one from October 15th and one from September 15th. Directly below that post, you will see the letter from October 15th, which is really the only one you have to read because the latter half of that letter is indeed the letter from September 15th. Now, that being said, the FBI has stated there would be one final illegal entry attempt, and today, as you can see in the live stream that preceded this one, I stepped outside, and on top of the numerous unserved documents that continue to accumulate due to criminal trespassing and stalking from City of Everett employees and third and fourth parties like my multiple times convicted stalker and abuser. Anyway, people keep deciding to criminally trespass. There is no notice of pro se appearance anywhere. And for 14 to 20 months, people have been told to stay the fuck off my property, and yet they keep coming, including uniformed police officers that have received cease and desist letters for 14 months that you can watch trying to illegally enter my home on day 50. Check out that live stream. Fairly confident that's the same police officer I affectionately call Porky Pig because he looks just like him in the face, who's responsible for coming to my house under orders and instructions to perpetrate fraud the day that my sons were kidnapped for the second time over a 6-day period of time, which superseded months and months of me reporting it, as the federal felons directly above my home of 12 years have used their unit to premeditate that plan, as well as 100 other crimes they've perpetrated against me simply from September 2023 to date. Some of them, most notably the Asian female, have actually been guilty for much longer, like since the last week of March 2023. That being said, the FBI has said there will be one final illegal entry attempt. They've also stated that there's a vested interest in attempting to wake me up for that illegal entry attempt, and for the federal felons upstairs to in some way cut off the live stream. And I wouldn't suggest any of that because the FBI has said that's what's going to be occurring or attempted since last month, guys. Anyway, for the final illegal entry attempt, I've been told to completely ignore anyone outside and that anything and everything that comes out of their mouth, even if it involves court orders, is fraud. But I am to aim my camera at the direction of the door. And then just to be clear, there is zero legal way, according to the FBI, for anyone to be standing outside of my door, knocking on the door, trying to get into the door, or attempting to serve me, summon me, or subpoena me, not just because I'm a legally ordained minister, but also because of the letters from September 15th, October 15th, and October 20th which all legally, according to federal and state statute, make it illegal for anyone to even be outside. So in the preceding live stream, I went outside and we had the papers that were taped to the door, I don't know, a week ago or something, the 2 envelopes that had been under a wooden table for months, and some new page or 2, it looked really small, I think it was 2 pages, face down document laying in the middle of the sidewalk outside of my living room window. Now, as you can see in those letters, you'll see from the letter on September 15th, which superseded 11 months of cease and desist letters to the North Everett Police Precinct, the dwindling Department of Fucked, Unit 207, yada, 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 and everyone else going to prison for the rest of their lives. Yeah. Less the whistleblowers. Anyway, it is what it is. So that's what I've got to look forward to. Another attempt at illegal entry. Anyway, I didn't read that because everybody has been made aware. I am literally not allowed to read anything that comes. In the September 15th letter, you'll see that I've been instructed not to open any mail. And all of these people have been prohibited from contacting me. And every time they do contact me and Unit 207 fails to run downstairs and tell them to get off the private property, they're choosing intentional misconduct and failure to act, yada, yada, yada. It's just a shitstorm. All of these people are going to prison for the rest of their lives, except for the whistleblowers. I refuse to feel bad about it. And just to be clear, I am the only victim in this building. Now, I have no idea what it is, but I can do nothing other than just let it sit outside like litter that I didn't put there or authorized to be put there, but that was criminally put there, and is also evidence of stalking, criminal trespass, and a variety of other charges such as witness tampering, evidence tampering, and obstruction of justice. So I really suggest that those of you that keep doing that shit come and collect that. Because remember, the FBI has stated that in the event that I am released before you're all detained in what they've referred to as a blitz sweep, I'm under strict instructions to go to the Snohomish Superior Courthouse and get restraining orders with punitive damages against each and every one of you who waived any and all immunity 14 months ago. Now, this YouTube live stream should run until 1 a.m.-ish, November 14th. That's why the title has a hyphen and says 99, day 98 to 99, because at 11:55 p.m. PST, it will be day 99. So read those letters. And then just to remind everybody, the FBI has assured me that everyone that needs to know already knows. They've also assured me that for that final illegal entry attempt, in the event that a sheriff comes, I'm to ignore the sheriff as well, but also to be aware that the sheriff is ordered to arrest anyone who opens my door. So in the event that this YouTube live stream ends without me telling you the time and that I'm immediately launching another YouTube live stream to supersede it, be advised that it ended because of the federal felons upstairs and some sort of attempted malarkey that they're trying to do. Again, it's 1:25 p.m. PST, November 13th, 2024. This is a consensual recording of Mystic Gwen. You are going to hear something I already said because I do need to play this on a different laptop just to make sure there's audio, but the gauge is working. And Nerd Squad, again, about a 7-second delay. The third and final time, facebook.com/mysticgwen on you. From there, We have audio.
Came over here is because I received a strange letter in my mailbox. One silver brow raised as she waited for me to continue. I guess I was wondering if maybe you'd seen someone deliver it.
You mean the mailman?
She fired back, sarcasm melting into her words as she fanned herself. No, not the mailman. I think this letter was hand-delivered. With a shake of her head, she stood and walked over to her front door. Pulling open the screen, she threw me one more glance.
Listen, I see almost everything that goes on in this neighborhood, and I can assure you that the only person I noticed stopping at your mailbox was the mailman.
Okay, thank you. Slamming her screen door shut, she left before I could even finish my sentence. I guess since the show was over, she didn't want anything else to do with me. I shuffled a bit in place, then shoved my hands into my pockets before scampering across the street and back onto my property. Nasty old woman wasn't helpful at all. With a quiet scoff, I threw open my own front door and strolled inside, making a mental note to keep my shirt on the next time I mowed my yard. Sunday was uneventful, and the strange letter was honestly the last thing on my mind. I had a spreadsheet I needed to get done for work, and I had to present it at 8 a.m. the next morning. My day flew by almost as fast as my fingers flew across my keyboard. If this presentation went well, I was sure it would end in a promotion and a raise. Monday morning, I woke up and was running a bit late. Luckily, I pressed and starched everything the night prior. Rolling up the sleeves of my crisp white button-down, I quickly threw on a tie, stepped into a pair of black slacks, and slid into some shiny black loafers. With a glance in the mirror, I carted a hand through my still damp hair before deciding to add a bit of gel, hoping it would stay in place long enough to survive the meeting. Everything that could have gone wrong that morning did.
My apologies. My delivery driver just arrived with another shipment. She only accepts an autograph in blood. So, if you'd please excuse me for a moment, I'll be right back. I like to take my time signing. Why, hello there. You've reached the antiquarium. If you wish to leave a message, please do so with the tone and have a great day.
You're not going to believe this.
Just remember, guys, we went over a lot of Bible chapters and verses in the preceding live stream. And you should really check out Ezekiel. Because like I said, a lot of you are doing what? You're choosing to fill in the blank 3-letter word. Starts with a D and is not dog.
Well, you might give him the name of the establishment. But I actually got this number from a grimoire.
And then for the love of God, accept the fact the person in the living room directly upstairs is going to prison for the rest of their life and should be counting their blessings every day that they hold me hostage because I'm going to take everything to her name. Amen.
I collect rare books, specifically focused on the occult, and they like to hide messages. And I kind of found this code.
What's up?
And it's very obviously not locations on a map. And I figured, why not try calling it? And here I am. Maybe you have a book that goes along with...
It's cool. She has insurance. The FBI told me they're going to cancel her after they pay me.
the one that I had. If you give me a call back. Bye.
End of messages.
And hello again. So sorry to keep you waiting. Had some trouble finding a vein. I gave the driver a few things to send out before I sent her on her way. So be sure to give the shop a call
And the lesson with that, guys, is never, ever, ever take a dare from the FBI unless you want to go to prison. That's the lesson. Bear witness.
let me know if a little something from the antiquarium should show up. Now, let's open the rest of this package, shall we?
Everything that could have gone wrong that morning did. Throwing my car in reverse, I peeled out of my neighborhood and onto the freeway. Two people pulled out in front of me. I had to swerve when a chair came toppling off an overly packed pickup truck. And to top it all off, I managed to get stuck in a traffic jam that was moving at a snail's pace.
Also, just to be clear, guys, I like to think of the FBI as some of God's favorite Boy Scouts. It's for real. That's how I've always viewed them. Some of God's favorite Boy Scouts constitute the FBI.
The time was ticking by, and as each minute passed, I was getting more irritated. My boss wasn't a man who would accept any kind of silly excuse, so in 15 more minutes, I was as good as dead. Trying to calm myself down, I switched to the radio stations, but strangely, all of them were.
Oh, and if you missed the preceding live stream, the FBI did advise that some stupid federal felons wanted to parlay with me and that would be really far from their best interest, but that I'll be sure to catch it on the live stream. That was before I went outside and found those downward-facing papers nobody put in an envelope because they've been taking advice from a woman going to prison for the rest of her life who goes around telling people what to do because she thinks she's smarter than the FBI. She's not. She's not even smart enough to have ever been part of an FBI investigation.
Or static filled. Except for one.
Oh, except for as a target, yeah.
My fingers froze on the knob as a strange feeling of dread washed over me. The voice coming through the radio, cutting through all the noise outside.
Ryan.
The voice.
And she can hate me all she wants. It's my understanding that she's going to die. That's my understanding. From a biblical stance and all of those Bible verses we went over today, particularly from Ezekiel, has she not chosen death already, everyone? That's right, she has. She's choosing it right now. She's decided that every day, in fact, particularly on Fridays, for 14 months. I'm guessing she'll do it right before her sentencing.
A sort of breathy whine crackled over the sound system in my car as I whispered. A mixture of confusion and indescribable fear began to blossom deep within me as I stared at the screen. Looking at the radio station, my eyes widened as I saw the station number, 66.6, glared back at me. What the actual... Repeating my name again. The voice wavered a bit before a hissing sound filled the car. It was so ear-splittingly loud that I clenched my eyes shut and attempted to block out the noise with my hands. When I finally pulled them away from my ears, the hissing sound dropped to a low buzz, and something warm dripped from my ear, pattering onto my dress pants in slow, steady drops. Running a finger over it, I quietly panicked when red stained the pad of my fingertip. With shaky hands, I reached into my glove compartment for a napkin and cleaned myself up the best I could. By the time I glanced up at the clock, traffic remained at a standstill, and I half expected the time to slap me in the face when I looked over at it. Instead, it still read 7:45. Closing my eyes, I blinked a couple of times before peering at the numbers again. What the heck was this? A minute later, the traffic cleared up and I was moving again. I twisted the knob on the radio, trying to change the channel to something different. The incessant sound of the buzzing noise driving me insane. But that's when I heard it again. That voice.
What do you know what it is?
I must have looked absolutely ridiculous, but I didn't care. I repeated angrily. Ice-cold terror raced through my veins as I gripped the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white.
to swerve out in traffic.
Right. Anger simmering dangerously close to outrage. Without so much as a second thought, though, I watched it holler as my foot pressed down on the accelerator and my hands twisted the steering wheel. Within a matter of seconds, the sickening crunch of metal rang throughout my ears as I crashed into another car. The impact knocked me out cold.
Really? The audio engineers on this show are fucking incredible, dude. I just can't get over how high quality the vocal actors and the audio engineers are. It's a bummer that so many of the stories are duds because I feel like it really is 50-50. One really good story, one really shit story. One really good story, one really shit story. Because they're super talented with the audios. Like everything that I'm hearing sound wise, it always coincides. Minus that weird ending on the episode before this that sounded like a monster broke in and then they started playing beer pong.
And when I awoke in the hospital,
Maybe the sound guy was sick that week.
I learned that it was because of the airbag. The concussion I gained because of that made me feel like my thoughts were swimming through a thick blanket of fog. But that soon cleared within a few days. What didn't clear was the guilt that hung over me like a cloud. The people in the car weren't severely injured, but I did find out that it was a mother and a young child. Both of our cars were totaled. But despite everything, it was written off as an accident. It was determined that I passed out before my car swerved into the other lane. I could have sworn I was conscious. The voice told me to swerve. I was sure of it. And that's what made me feel so horrible about the whole situation. I would have taken full responsibility. Guilt was a horrible feeling, and I hated every second of it. I should have spoken up. I should have taken accountability. I should have fought just a little harder to block out the voice. When I finally made it back to work at the end of the week, though, I was pleasantly surprised to find that my boss had looked over the spreadsheet that I'd emailed and decided that, despite me not being able to present it like I intended, he was very impressed. In fact, he wanted to see me in his office at 2 that afternoon to discuss it. Deciding to go ahead and take my lunch, I headed to the break room and pulled out my usual sandwich. For some reason, I was only able to eat about half of it, though, before I started feeling kind of sick. My eyes darted around the room for a trash can before I finally ran over to the sink. Gripping the edge of it, I wasted no time in emptying everything in my stomach. The horrible burning sensation in my throat made tears well up in my eyes as I tried to get myself under control. And that's what I heard. The little radio sitting on the counter flipped between about a dozen stations before it stopped on one.
I want you to turn on the garbage disposal.
Sweat beaded atop my brow as I tried to fight the urge to comply. My eyes widened in horror as I watched my hand twitch and my fingers flex as I tried and failed to stop myself. Slowly it lifted, and then wavered only a moment before flicking on the garbage disposal switch. The blades roared to life, their metallic teeth gnashing together in hopes that something might drop within its grasp. More bile began to climb up my throat as I shook my head and hoped that the voice would stop.
I want you to put your hand inside the garbage disposal.
A small sob broke from my lips as I watched my hand once again betray me. Slowly, it dipped towards the sink, closer and closer until...
Oh, hey Ryan. I didn't know you'd come back yet.
The sound of one of my coworkers successfully broke the trance. And once again, my hand was mine. Steph, can you turn off the radio? My voice was shaky and uneven